Sorry this is a little late. Usually I have these done by Sunday night of the week before the Monday, but I got really sick, so I was just like laid out. Anyway, so this is the reading. One of the readings is Emory Douglas. Well, it's an interview with Emory Douglas about his work. He was in the Black Panthers, and he did a lot of their visual stuff, posters, and I think he laid out some of their papers and stuff like that. And this was a really, really interesting article for me. A lot of what I found interesting about it, first of all, his work was really good. I guess he went to some kind of like art school or something. I'm just trying to see. Oh, okay, so the person who interviewed Emory Douglas was Valerie Palmer, and the article's called Revolution in Our Lifetime. And he did like graphic design school or something like that. But what I found most interesting was that in his view there's like two different kinds of work, like artwork, that either it can help you escape from your crappy life, to make you forget. And he said there's a place for that, but that his work didn't do that, and that he thinks that it, by having this sort of opiate-like work that people make to have people separate themselves out from the situations they find themselves in, is a tool of the establishment. So people who are like, well, I just want to be entertained. I don't want, I just want to be entertained. I just want to be entertained, because they have probably a lot of stress and a lot of hard things going on in their lives. He's saying, like, you kind of have to face those things, and if you can make art that includes that makes revolution irresistible, but also that puts oppressed people in it as the heroes. He talked about how in media a lot of times black people are criminals, or they're characterized in a very specific way, and so if the fact that he put them in empowering images, even if they weren't necessarily empowered, it was a method of empowerment for him and his group, that was good. And that opiate-like work was a tool of the establishment because it kind of traps you. I thought that was like the most, like, that's the thing that stuck with me from that article. And just that his work was empowered. Like, if you see the images, like, it's like strong, powerful people, men and women, black men and women, and then the sort of taking the police down a notch by conflating them with oppression. Not that they're not oppressive, like, not that he had to do that conflation, but saying that they're the same as soldiers, you know what I mean, like oppressive forces, that it was an oppressive force, and illustrating them as pigs, was really powerful stuff back then, and it still is. I wouldn't recommend calling a police officer a pig anytime soon, and see how that goes. So that was interesting. So that's it for that article. So the second article was called it wasn't called that. Oh, it was on a website called Electronic Intifada, and I guess it's a Palestine website where they deal with Palestinian liberation and that kind of thing. And it was written or published, I guess, by Nigel Parry, and it was it's called Well-Known UK Graffiti Artist Hacks the Wall. I guess he's talking about Banksy. This was really interesting. First of all, it was just there was this guy who was an architecture writer, I guess, and he was writing into these guys, the Electronic Intifada, because he was like, this wall is ugly, and so there's no excuse for ugliness in the world, so I want to make the wall less ugly, or how could we design this wall to make it less unattractive or something, as though something like that could be beautiful. And this guy just running back like, you can't make this beautiful. What are you talking about? This is an open-air prison. Like, Gaza is totally fucked, and it's because of this wall. And, just what are you talking about? Like, it was just so crazy. And the guy just sort of wasn't having it. He was just like, no, well, I just don't think there's any excuse for ugliness in the world. And so if we can use design, like it's a magic wand or something, to make this wall more beautiful, then why shouldn't we do that? And it totally blew my mind, just like how this person's point of view had never been challenged. Like how he probably thought he was an apolitical person. I think he even said that. He's just like, I don't want to get into the politics of this wall. I just want to make it more beautiful so that it's less oppressive. Yeah, I don't even feel like I have to say much about that. Like, it's so obvious to me. And, you know, I'm not like a genius, you know? And then they talk about Banksy's, he did some images on the wall of like a girl with balloons floating up in the air and like a curtain being pulled back and like a paradise sort of image behind it. And, you know, that was probably really tricky to do. And there was like I think he remarks, it's recorded on this website, but he remarked or wrote about in a catalog that he was making this wall and somebody's like, why are you doing that? And he was just like, I'm just trying to sort of bring attention to this wall. And an old man was sort of like, that wall shouldn't be made more beautiful. It's not beautiful. And you know what I mean? Like, it was just a salient critique on what Banksy was doing, and he totally admitted it. Like, he totally was like, yeah, this guy was, you know, he had a point. Like, I don't necessarily, like, I'm not saying I disagree with the old man, but I don't think that was Banksy's intention to make it beautiful, like that weirdo architect writer who was emailing these guys. But I think it is salient, but it doesn't mean that it shouldn't be done just because it's good critique, you know? Anyway, I just think it's something to be kept in mind. So that's number 2. And that was really good, but it was so shocking to me. It was very shocking, that guy. Nigel, I think, or something. Anyway.